Question number 2 from Emily on clean meat. She says, hi, I'm actually brand new to listening to your podcast. A friend who runs a regenerative farm in Virginia wrote about your podcast in a recent newsletter, and I had to check it out. I recently read a book called Clean Meat about lab-created meat from stem cells and how this industry, as of the 2016 publishing, is getting ready to boom.
I'm way less concerned about what that there might be some weird health consideration of growing this stuff in a lab. I'm honestly not concerned about that. It's what is most concerning to me, and Emily actually touched on this. Like, this is right in the purview of all the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation stuff, and Bill Gates being the largest owner of farmland in the United States now, and pushing that all westernized countries should not use grazing animals as part of their food system, and this all justified because these animals produce methane, and which is a greenhouse gas, and it ignores the whole fact that there is a carbon cycle that exists there. It ignores the fact that properly utilized grazing animals restore grasslands and pasture lands. What's most concerning to me is that there's claims around sustainability here, which are bullshit, because when you grow this meat in a lab, and this is one of the things that just is so frustrating. But I've talked to people who are smart, sophisticated, but have never thought a moment about what the implications are of this lab meat. We're like, yeah, that's great. I mean, it just grows in a lab. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you feed the meat so that the tissue grows? And they just kind of look at me blankly, and they're like, oh, yeah, I guess you need to put something in there. It's like a culture medium. Yeah, you do. And that stuff comes from industrial row crop processes, and you have to take it, like you grow corn and soybeans, and you have to extract minerals out of the soil, and you have to process all that stuff, and then you have to stick it in this nutrient bath, and the nutrient bath is in a building that needs heating and cooling.
And the lights.
And the scale, like, do you scale that? We have two-thirds of the Earth's landmass is mainly most amenable for grazing animals, because you don't necessarily want to pave all of it over to turn it into a strip mall. It's not amenable for farming, and we talked about all this stuff. Emily, like our book and film Sacred Cow would be a great place to jump in on this. So, place to be concerned is that this is being hung out there as a sustainability option and an ethically superior option. And I don't think it's any of those things. And that's really the problem, is that on the surface, it looks like kind of a juicy little tidbit, in that this could solve all manner of problems, but I just don't think that that's the case. Satellite imaging with drones to help ranchers figure out which part of their pasture is ready to be grazed, but then the grazing process, it looks more like a late 18th century ranch and farm with chickens and horses and cows and rotational grazing and rotational application of agriculture within these areas that have been grazed. And after the agriculture, after your corn crop goes through, then the cows and goats are allowed to go through there and eat all the remaining stuff. I think that that's the future of food. That should be a major feature of the future of food. And there's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing that gets like tech nerds excited because it doesn't look like intellectual property. Nothing that raises
a bunch of venture capital financing.
I'm not sure what more to say on that, but that's my thought.